Emotional labor is when you are carrying the full weight of someone else's emotion, and it's not your job. It's not your choice. They, as a human, turn to you and they need you. In that moment, they need more than you can ever give. And a piece of you steps up and gives more than you can actually give. Now, you can do this willingly and you can do it consciously, but typically we don't do it consciously. We do it by instinct and by socialization.
Hi, guys, and welcome to the House Call Vet Cafe podcast. I'm Dr. Eve Harrison. I'm a full-time integrative concierge house call veterinarian in Los Angeles, and I help other vets to build their unique mobile practices on their terms. This podcast is for and by house call and mobile veterinarians, so it is meant to give our community a platform to connect, to share our stories, to lift each other up, and to support each other. Most of us work solo as lone wolves, right? So for me, it's been really powerful to be able to physically hear the voices of my colleagues from all over the world and to get a chance to feel that we truly are part of a community of very real other human beings who get it. While you may be alone in that little bubble of your own vehicle when you're on the road seeing patients, I welcome you to join our community by tuning into our own podcast when you're on your way to your next house call. Whether you're a super experienced house call vet with 30 years of experience, you're a brand new prospective house call vet just looking to get started, or you're house call curious, there will be something for you in this podcast. Each episode, you will hear interviews from other mobile veterinarians just like yourself who are doing unique and innovative things, vets who are sharing their stories, their struggles and challenges, and you can also look forward to hearing valuable information and perspectives from specialists and experts outside of our micro niche. And finally, if becoming a house call veterinarian is something that you've been thinking about exploring, or you're looking for some extra support getting your own mobile practice to feel more profitable and sustainable for you, check out the information in the show notes about my course and our above and beyond supportive private community for members only, plus our monthly group coaching sessions within the House Call Vet Academy. You can also check out my free public Facebook group, which is also called the House Call Vet Cafe, the same name as this podcast, and which is a warm and cozy community for mobile vets to support each other in professional and personal development, in creative entrepreneurship, and in friendship. So thank you guys for spending time with me today. Let's dive into the episode.
Hey everyone, I am very excited to introduce you to our guest today. We have met this wonderful guest before, and I'm very excited to have Kadeth Darkstar Pozzesi. And he is a retired RVT turned private practice therapist, integrating heart, mind, spirit, body, and knowledge into building healing pathways. His primary populations include the LGBTQA community, domestic violence survivors, and the veterinary community. He is a Reiki master teacher and shamanic practitioner, and outside of work, he's also an artist and musician. Can you guess why we are friends? So, Kadeth was my very first vet tech with Marigold Veterinary, and he helped me build it from the very early days. And while we were doing that, he was also working on getting his LMFT while we were working together, so we had some overlap in those processes. So it's a very interesting conversation that we have anytime we have a conversation, and it's the crossroads between veterinary, the shit that we've been through in the veterinary profession together before we worked in my practice together, and during while we worked in my practice together, and after. So I'm super excited to have him with us. Today we'll be discussing a subject at the intersection of psychology and veterinary medicine, as we tend to do when the two of us get together. And the fascinating subject for today is going to be an exploration of emotional labor in the veterinary and veterinary house call experience. So without further ado, I'd like to start out the episode by asking what kinds of snacks you might eat in the car when you're on the way to work.
Is that a question for me?
It is. It's a question for everyone that's on the show.
I don't have to worry about snacks. I work out of my own house in this little magical virtual thing. So I have a kitchen like 3 seconds away with everything I could possibly want, except usually I'm busy talking, so I don't do much snacking on the way to work.
Oh, so you're doing teletherapy.
Medicine. Yeah, telemedicine.
Primarily telemedicine. That's incredible. Okay.
That's all I do. That's all I do.
How did I not know? I always envisioned you going to a place. Snort. Okay, I love it. Okay. So, we'll jump to the next question. For those of our listeners who haven't heard our last podcast from several years ago on this show, or who haven't heard Kadeth speak at the House Call and Mobile Vet Virtual Conference every year for the last 5 years, I would love for everyone to get to know you a little bit better and hear your story. And I would love to hear just a little bit maybe focused on your journey from being an RVT to becoming a licensed marriage and family therapist. If you could kind of share a little bit about that process, that would be
It is a very strange journey. It includes shamanic input. And it starts off with I took a friend to work, and on the front porch, she was another tech. She worked at a local veterinary hospital, and one of the techs was sitting there bawling her eyes out. And she had a carrier next to her, and there's a little kitten inside. And, well, what's wrong? And she said, "This is my cat. He's a 4-week-old kitten. He's never going to walk. He was paralyzed from the waist down." And she said, "I have to put him to sleep. 4-week-old kitten caught by a dog, won't ever walk, spine severed at, I think it was T5." So she's crying, and all of a sudden the world stopped. It's absolutely serious. The sky got bright. The sound of the cars fell away. It was a summer, clear, crystal blue sky, and I heard rolling thunder. And out of the thunder came words: "Take him. You will meet through him your best friend. He will live 22 years. You will leave when he dies. You leave veterinary medicine when he dies." So, and then I said, "Hey, I can't make you choose this, but if he's alive, when I come back, I'll take him and try." So we did our thing, me and our friend, and I come back to pick up the friend, and we walk back into the clinic, and there he is sitting in a cage with euthanasia solution drawn up next to him and a big note in his cage: "Thank you, thank you, thank you." He was about ready to be euthanized. And I took him, and literally, you know who I'm talking about. Talk about Booger, the paralyzed cat. I met one of my best buddies, Kevin, through him, which also connected me to another paralyzed cat. And we did a lot of mutual research on that. And as you know, meeting Marigold, your cat, he literally lived to 22 years. And since I had foreknowledge and warning that I would be leaving veterinary medicine, I had prepped to go to school. I had also collected multiple injuries in the veterinary community. By the time 22 years rolled around, I couldn't keep working anymore in it. At that point in time, he had survived, but 22 years is forever for a cat that needed to have his bladder expressed every day, always, without fail.
wow.
Question people ask, and this can lead into emotional labor, if you wish, is how could you do that? And it was not hard. Here he was, he had a spectacular life. He had friends. He had a handicap ramp. He had a wheelchair that he used at times. He could climb with his front legs. He was handled all the time. And yeah, that's not emotional labor. It is labor. It is emotional, but it's not the same thing as when we talk about emotional labor.
I wanted to just sort of make some connections for our listeners that Kadeth and I met when I was in my surgical residency and Kadeth was an ER nurse. And we witnessed each other in some pretty terrible, painful situations. But we also connected very deeply because I met Booger.
Mhm.
What was it? Booger must have been an older gentleman. And I, at the time, had Marigold, which my practice is now named after, Marigold Veterinary. And Marigold was also a paraplegic cat. And I'd had Marigold her entire life. So Kadeth and I just connected immediately over this paralyzed cat thing. And it's very fascinating because I never knew this story, Kadeth, about how Booger and your sort of shamanic vision about you take this cat and you're going to go into this work, and when he dies, this is the end of your vet tech work. So I just like, I'm just so moved. Like when you started the story about the paralyzed kitten, I was like, are you talking about who I think you're talking about? And you were, and I'd never heard this story before. So thank you for sharing that. And holy shit, like, wow.
Holy shit moment. I don't tell it very often because I expect people to raise their eyebrow and go, "What, were you smoking?" Or some such, and no, nothing. It actually, the visual change and the auditory change was really clear. And no, I don't walk around seeing and hearing shit. Last time I checked,
Other than that time.
there have been times that I have seen and heard stuff, but typically that is under my direction, under my choice and control. This was a surprise.
Wow. That's absolutely incredible.
Hmm.
At some point, we ended up kind of abandoning ship of the terrible place where we met and kind of discovering ourselves in our own unique ways. And we came together again. Kadeth was my vet tech and incredibly helped me as I was building my house call practice. And then at some point during that journey, you went the direction of becoming a therapist.
Well, what happened is, you think about it, Booger literally lived for 22 years. He was almost, I think he was close to 15 when you met him. So while we were working together, I was working graveyards and going to school in the daytime,
Mm,
knocking out classes.
yeah.
So I had already, because of that foreknowledge, I was prepping. And this is how I paid for school. I worked graveyards. I'd actually been accepted into a doctoral program and had delayed it and finished a master's first. And the school got bought out by evil people. I couldn't finish my doctorate. But most people don't even know that I was going to school in the daytime.
Yeah. Yeah, you were juggling a lot of stuff.
Well, you were too. And I do remember the box, the surgery box,
The surgery box.
surgery box.
One of our So one of our vet tech colleagues, a surgery tech, made me a wooden box because I'm short and I couldn't always reach what I needed to reach at the surgical table when I was at the same, in the same surgery with an attending who was like a very tall man. So I had this very special box that had my name engraved on it, and so that's the box that Kadeth is talking about. I love that you mentioned that.
I also remember Marigold being there in her diaper and her being able to camp out on the floor
Hmm.
with ropes.
That's right. And so, what was it that turned your attention towards therapy? How, like, it's just, I mean, it makes perfect sense to me. Like, you come from the trauma of the veterinary world and wanting to kind of go into another profession where you're in like this deeply caring role. It
Yeah.
makes sense. There's a lot. I know for you, it's not that. I know for you, it's not that. Tell me, tell me, tell me.
No, no, it's really simple. I was trying to think of what I was going to do next. I realized that I was getting injured, and I was realized that although what I ideally would have liked, I would have liked to have gone to medical school, and I would have liked to have done that a long time ago. I would have ideally liked to have been a surgeon, but by that time, there was no chance of that. So I went, hmm, what's got a lot of medicine in it? Well, human brains are pretty cool. I think that I would like to figure out how people work. And I would like to figure out how the brain works. And I would like to figure out how to take things that don't work and teach people how to rewire their brain so they do work.
Fantastic. I love
So,
that so much. And while
and
we were working together, your learnings and your new skill set and intuition and inherent skill and talent in this way absolutely enhanced and supported what I was building and the way that I communicate with clients now and the way that I hold boundaries, the way I and we'll get into emotional labor, how I handle when there's an emotional labor scenario that is either inappropriate or feels outside my scope. So I'm just eternally grateful. And I just wanted to say that on the air, if I haven't said it on the air before, because I think it bears saying and repeating and all of that stuff. And I'm giving credit where credit is due formally. So, on the note, I wanted to shift into what our subject for today is going to be, which is emotional labor. So, can you tell me what emotional labor is?
Emotional labor is when you are carrying the full weight of someone else's emotion and it's not your job. It's not your choice. When we're working in the veterinary profession, we went into this a lot. If you think about it, when you walk into your client's house, say you walk in and you've got a client, you're bonded with them, you're bonded with their animals, something's gone way wrong. And it is time to start talking about really hard things. And maybe this pet is their everything. It is their connection to a partner who has passed. It is the one thing that has kept them going through who knows what. You do. And they, as a human, turn to you and they need you. In that moment, they need more than you can ever give. And a piece of you steps up and gives more than you can actually give. Now, you can do this willingly and you can do it consciously, but typically we don't do it consciously. We do it by instinct and by socialization. So you hold them up. You have the hard talks. Any feelings that you have that can interfere with you caretaking them, maybe you put down, maybe you spend extra time. Maybe you're having big feelings too. You get them through that and you move on. Except you carry with you this deficit in emotional energy. Now, we see emotional labor everywhere, and people are socialized to do it. Particular cultures socialize, and there's particular gender roles that are often socialized to do the emotional labor. And if you think about it, it's the emotional work. That is what the labor means. It's work. How many relationships are there? And I bet everybody can think of a couple right now where you go, "Oh, shit's going on at home. I need to make it smooth here. I need to make peace. I need to take care of this person, this chore, this other person. Oh, great. The dog just threw up and the kid's throwing a temper tantrum. I need to do all that so that I can have a peaceful house when everybody goes to bed and have 2 seconds to myself." Okay? Your role, especially if you happen to be assigned female in this culture and socialized to take that role, is a caretaker. And you may have people acting out their feelings, expecting you.
That was Hannibal. I heard Hannibal.
Incredible. Good boy. Shut, zoom down. It's time for him to go to bed. I don't know what his thing is.
Yeah, why is he so
But
loud right now? It's bedtime. Crows shouldn't be crowing.
he's nocturnal. He stays up late as I do.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and then he nods off, and during the day when I'm talking to clients, and every so often we'll look at there with his mouth open, weave back and forth and fall off his perch.
Oh, God.
He has he Baby with head trauma, he can't help it. So when you're doing that kind of emotional work, cleanup, other people are not responsible for their own emotions, neither are they responsible for their own process, their own behavior even. That becomes your job.
Mhm.
Well, every time you do that, you are giving something and you're not necessarily receiving. And
That's great. I love it. Hannibal is gonna be my podcast guest. Not you, Hannibal.
right, Hannibal loves to be a podcast guest. He will scream all day long if you get him.
Oh,
He's talking to his friends. Some of them are asleep in the trees outside. They don't respond, but he hopes. So think about doing that kind of work all day long. You're doing work that you are not getting back, and not everything is absolutely reciprocal, but there are parts in interpersonal relationships that need some reciprocal behavior. If I talk to you about something intense and you provide me support, you expect me to do the same for you. We expect it to go back and forth and to have a balance. Every so often, someone will say, I have nothing to give you, but I really need you. We take that in and we go, okay, I'll do that someday with you. Back and forth. There's some kind of balance. Emotional labor is often when the balance is gone and you're not aware of it. People often, when they have this in their home, often go, I'm doing it for my partner and to keep my own peace. Okay. I just heard you talk and you went, I'm doing it for my partner and to keep the peace. That doesn't sound really great. You're not going, I'm doing it because my partner does not often have capacity. I have more capacity. When my partner has capacity, there are these things that balance it out for me, and I am choosing it, and I am working on staying okay with my own stuff. I have these supports in place. That's not quite the same thing.
Mhm.
So take that, bring it into veterinary medicine. There's a whole lot of us that are socialized to be caretakers. If you go into medicine, unless you are the premium surgery, the great boy who has everything at their fingertips, you're also socialized to caretake. And when we talk about caretaking in medicine, and it comes to animals, we're crossing into an area that is really ambiguous because we're not conversing with the animals in a way that their human can understand. And although we are providing support to the animal, that is a different kind of emotional labor. It is the person that we are actually providing caretaking. We are taking care of the animal, but we are caretaking the owner. Think about it. When you see an animal, what do you do for it?
We treat it with medicine.
Yeah. You assess it, you make it comfortable, you have a brief bond if you can with it, you figure out what it needs, you provide what it needs. It does not it does not ask you for things outside of that appointment. It may not like you, it may love you, it may think you're the greatest thing in the world, it may love you to pieces while you're there, it may look at you and go, "You must die if you touch me." It may sit there and shake and growl at you. There's all sorts of responses, but when you're not there, it might think, icky person came over," or, "Oh, I got treats," but it's not thinking about you, and it's not gonna text you, it's not gonna call you, it's not gonna go, "Hey, Eve, I don't know how to decide when it's the right time. I don't know if I can do these things. I don't know if I can stand to lose this animal," because that's where a lot of emotional labor comes in, is anticipatory loss, anticipatory grief, or being impacted by something that requires emotional stability in some way. Diabetic animals is a great one. We can manage them if we are able to, if we know how. We can manage a lot of them. A lot of them can do great for quite a while. Dietary things, a lot of stuff can be managed awesomely. It doesn't mean that an owner can look at that and go, I can do that, no problem. It might be, what? No way. I can't take that treat away from them. And that may seem silly, but it's not silly to that owner. I can't learn to give insulin. I So when you see the client, what work are you actually doing? And you're talking to the owner, and they're going, when they go, I trust you. This is hard. Tearing up, going, Eve, I've known you for years. How do I get through this? You pat them on the head and leave? No. What do you do as a person? What do you do?
Most of us internalize and feel this is, our responsibility, and we go into sort of hyper responsibility mode and take them by the hand and become the therapist that we aren't actually trained to be. And we stay there in a house call potentially for a lot longer than we plan to be. So I don't know. Is that what you're asking for?
That's what I'm asking. And yeah, most of us would do that in that situation. Most medical providers, human or animal or any provider, typically, if you say, help me, the human response is to help.
Of course.
So we internalize our needs, we step up to the plate, and we give. Now, we can have boundaries and we can give effectively, and some of us get better at that. We can extend courtesies, some of that get better at that. But if we do that, appointment after appointment after appointment, day after day after day, and we have no internal sense that we're doing, then that is collected. We are given collective support all across the board, and we don't have much left for us by that point in time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Hey there, it's Eve Harrison. There's a question that I get from veterinarians all the time. How do you do concierge practice in your house call vet practice? Another question I get is, what is concierge practice? So the term concierge definitely gets thrown around in a lot of ways that are different from what I mean. But for me, I'm a house call vet, but as a sub mini micro niche within house call vet practice, I specifically have a concierge practice. So among other features, concierge practice functions as a membership container, but that's not the only thing that makes concierge concierge. What concierge practice really means for me is that I run a thriving, fully self-sustaining house call practice where I see way fewer patients. I earn income that is way more aligned with my actual effort, my skills, and the super thoughtful heart and soul that I put into my work. And the best part for me is that my client base is perfectly curated. I legitimately love every one of my clients and patients. And as a result of me not being burned out or resentful and feeling secure in my income and the energetic exchanges occurring between us, everyone involved receives the thoughtful, comprehensive care that they deserve, including me. And I actually have time and energy left to be my whole self rather than being defined by my career only. My Concierge Vet Mastermind program gives you everything you need to build a sustainable practice that honors both your calling as a vet and your ability to live a balanced, fulfilled life. In just 6 months, I will personally guide you through my Compassionate Concierge method with exclusive on-demand training, along with private coaching and direct text access to me, as though you were a member of my actual concierge practice. So you get to feel what it's like to be a client in my own concierge practice. You'll learn exactly how to structure, price, and market your services while skillfully and compassionately honoring your own boundaries. Plus, you'll join a super intimate community of like-minded veterinarians who are transforming their practices right alongside you. Do you want to learn a little bit more about what concierge vet practice is and if it's a good match for your goals before you commit? If so, check out my free Concierge Vet Starter Kit. Both links are in the show notes for you. Welcome to VetMed's best kept secret, and I'm sharing it all with you. I can't wait to see you inside.
And can you elaborate a little bit about how this shows up specifically, potentially in house call practice?
On house call practice, you do not have an appointment schedule that someone else is pestering you about. You don't have a tech running rooms going, hey, Eve, There's somebody in room 2 for you. You're behind. And I don't know about you, but I know I worked in practices where we had a ready room that was an escape room, that if somebody was just we couldn't get them out the door, we would knock on the door. We had a prearranged saying, "Hey, we need you in room 3." And that was the code for, "We're getting you out of there." And then they got taken care of. They got taken up to the front. They got handed, "This are your instructions. This is we're gonna check on you this time." They got taken care of. And even in some of the emergency practices, when we had people that were deeply grieving, they had a safe room, a quiet room where they could spend time, and other staff members would go in and take turns checking, sitting with them. There were multiple people that stepped up to help someone move through a process and get them okay enough to be able to hold it together to do what they had to do next, whatever that was. In a house call practice, you're by yourself or you have a tech with you. You don't have a crew. You don't have anybody going, "Okay, we're due at so and so in 15 minutes. Hey, Eve, go pack up. All right, I'm going to charge you out. Okay, these are your instructions." We don't have that separation. And you're going straight into somebody's home. So they are welcome you in to a space they are vulnerable in, and your nervous system is regulating with theirs in their own space. And that is a big deal. Because when you are in someone else's space, you are a guest invited in. And again, you have been socialized to be polite in someone's space, supportive, to be kind, to be all sorts of things, whether you think about it or not. They don't teach you that shit in medical school, do they?
No. Yeah, I would also say that what's very interesting in terms of emotional labor in the house call environment is you alluded to the fact that an animal themselves is not going to text you. They're not going to be thinking and worrying and ruminating and putting, you know, their potential lack of ability to regulate their own nervous system onto you. Meanwhile, at a clinic, you would have potentially CSRs, or you would have many levels of gatekeeping between you and the client.
No,
A client who is potentially a client that is, and it's not wrong that they need support or they're reaching out, but it's also not our job necessarily to take on unlimited amounts of emotional labor and regulate someone else's nervous system for them, or take on their emotional load that is theirs to carry, right? It's not our job, right? And as you've been saying, it is our human nature to kind of help, to show up, to put ourselves aside, and to step into a role that we're actually not trained to do. But when we're in house call practice, it's us and the client and our number that they can text whenever they want. Doesn't mean we, in our policy, allow that. Doesn't mean that we tell them that's okay, but we can't control people. So if they text us or they come to us or they bring us, whatever it is that is outside the scope of our quote unquote job, we find ourselves very potentially very vulnerable to taking on a lot more emotional labor than we ever signed up for, essentially, right?
Well, you're operating as, in a sense, in a really simplistic term, you're operating outside your scope of practice to do that emotional labor. However, it is part of human labor, and humans take it on typically gratefully to a point and gladly to a point.
Absolutely.
But it also inhibits your ability to do your job.
Mm,
Inhibits the care you can provide.
mm-hmm.
If I'm seeing a client and they want to talk to me about problems that are outside of my scope of practice, and they are distracting me from working on what we are working on, I can't do that and do the job that they asked me to. This is why in house call practices, if you are going, "I am here to provide care for your pet. I cannot be your therapist in this moment. give you comfort. I can give you referrals. I can go, hey, I got you for the best I can for this piece. This is hard. There are ways people do this. Go, this is really hard. Change is awful. We often have collected phrases that we use to communicate, see and hear and witness people's grief, witness people's fear of change, witness people's confusion, witness them going, I can't afford this, and having to process that. We have ways to hold them up that are not the same as emotional labor, not the same as co-regulating with them, feeling what they feel, trying to help them not feel something by doing it for them.
Mm,
That's not so simple as just having good boundaries, because then we go, what the hell do boundaries mean?
mhm,
But it's recognizing a thing. Many people are propelled to feel that the other person's need is making them need to help them. It's uncomfortable to be needed that much.
mhm,
I need you so bad that your nervous system is vibrating. The only skill set you have is to give me comfort and validation, because that's not your job. You are doing a thing that is hard emotional labor by giving that to me to settle me down so you don't suffer with it.
Okay, so we've kind of established what emotional labor is, what it might look like, how it might kind of eat away at our ability to care for ourselves and sustainably do this work. Can you tell me what it looks like to address this emotional labor? How do we handle it? Because humans are humans. We're dealing with people who are in very difficult scenarios, people who are upset, and rightly so. We don't judge them for that. But what do we do so that we stay out of this compulsive emotional labor that is not actually ours to do?
Okay, the very, very first thing that you do is you're going to hold inside your health the concept that sometimes you will be pushed by the social constructs to give this. If you can recognize it when it's happening, then you have more autonomy and choice. The minute you recognize, oh, I'm being asked to provide extra emotional labor, and you choose inside to be aware of that, and you go, okay, this is an important person to me. I have, I can give this much in this way. And it's going to be different every time. I'm going to take a big breath. I'm going to recognize that I'm going to try to regulate myself internally so that I am not resonating with them. I am not matching them, but I am holding myself solid and grounded inside. And I'm going to go, hey, this is really hard, isn't it? We're going to validate the person. This is really hard. What can I do to help you right now? And we're going to give them small things that they can do to try to basically keep their shit together. Because most people, when you offer them validation, I know this is hard, you are keeping track in your mind. You're not going to spend 4 hours doing this. Your goal is probably to spend about 10 to 15 minutes. And if you have a really bad day, when every single person does this, I'm sorry, sometimes that happens. Most of the time you don't. Most of the time it's one person here, one person there.
Mm-hmm.
You let them go through their feelings without feeling them yourself. You may wince, you may tear up, and that is compassionate. That's totally fine. Somebody cries and you cry in front of them, you go, okay, let's keep it together for both of us. That tells them you feel something for them, you're feeling something with them, but you're asking for them to participate in their own care with you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. As
That's
opposed to, and what is the opposite of that look like? What does the emotional labor version of it? Someone says to you, I am absolutely losing my shit. This is so stressful. I can't sleep at night. I can't keep my shit together. I just don't even know what I'm going to do. What am I going to do? Someone approaches you that way. I'm crying constantly, and you tell me what to do. My question is, if someone approaches you that way and you are taking on the emotional labor version
Oh
of
my
this,
God.
how would that
You
look?
can't sleep?
Mhm,
Oh, shoot. Well, what can I do for you?
mhm,
Do you need me to be there for you? I'll be there every night. You can text me anytime.
mm,
Okay, let me see what I can do. I mean, we've known each other for years. You can call me anytime. And then you also have promised something you can't deliver on. So the other thing happens internally. You're feeling anxiety
mhm,
when when someone is approaching you like that and going, I
mhm,
can't, I can't, I can't, I can't.
mhm,
You are taking on those feelings. Your body is responding to their body. If your body is mimicking their body, you are going to feel the same thing. It feels like yours.
mm,
It's magic of how our bodies co-regulate and mirror each other. And someone who's really strong with an emotion, big feelings, wide impact. Little feelings, small feelings, hidden feelings, less impact on others. So if you come to me and go, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. My God, I don't know what to do. The sky is falling. The world's going to blow up. If my mayfly dies in 3 days, I'm screwed.
My mayfly.
Well, mayflies only live for 3 days. They all die in 3 days.
Oh God. That's hilarious. Okay, so let me ask you this. Someone comes to you, we've been talking about someone requesting help in a respectful way, somebody feeling big feelings and sadness, overwhelm, things like that. We're very used to that. What if somebody, potential client, comes to you bringing you frustration and anger? How do we not take on the emotional labor of handling that? And then sometimes we have clients that are frustrated, angry, and sometimes an extreme fashion that is like, this does not belong to me. Could you play out what it looks like to take on that emotional labor and just take it on and make it feel it does belong to me, versus how do I take it on in the sense of, this doesn't belong to me and I'm going to process this without it becoming
Come at
straight
me.
up emotional labor?
Come at me as if you're legit
Okay. Okay. Okay.
angry, and I will mimic what it would look like if I took it on.
I'm unbelievably frustrated. This is the worst experience of my life. You're pretty much created more stress than what you've helped with. And I
Really?
really, really can't believe this.
Really? Really? You're getting my
Yes.
face about this right now? You had me come over to here, take your pet, and you're getting my face. What the fuck is wrong with you? So, one of the very first things that I did is my facial expressions and gestures changed. When you start going, I'm frustrated with you, I start going, hmm, hmm, hmm,
Mhm.
hmm.
Yeah.
I'm getting aggressive right back.
Mm.
So, that is what engaging looks like.
Mm. Mm. Mm-hmm.
If you had somebody that's going, you fucking killed my pet,
Mm-hmm.
then a lot of times we take on the emotional labor by going, I'm not safe. I need to get out of here. I need to calm this person down. I'm scared to death. And in a house call situation, sometimes it is a valid thing to be scared to death and get the fuck out.
Right. Right.
And there is no mimicking that.
Mm-hmm.
That is a step beyond emotional labor. That is a safety issue.
Right.
Safety in veterinary medicine, it's a thing. It's a thing from big
Sure.
dogs who want to murder you to little ankle biters that will haunt you in your dreams because they actually drew blood, and cats that want to murder you as well.
Mm. So what
So
does it look like when someone comes at you that way and we don't make it into the emotional labor that it could be? What's the alternative way that we might deal with
somebody's-
someone?
you killed my pet. We take a step back. I want to assure you I did the best that I can. And I understand that this is a horrible time for you. If they accelerate, you get out of the house. That's all I will say. Because I don't know how big that person is. I don't know if they are going to get violent, but pretty much when somebody is angry, a lot of times it's covering up huge grief and they don't know how to talk about that. And that's not our job.
Mm.
That's my job, but that's not your job.
Your job as a therapist, not
Oh,
our job as a veterinarian.
that's my job to be able to take and go, okay, you lost your best friend and you believe a vet could have saved him. And let's look at that and let's check that.
And more often, it's not, in the house call world, it's not someone coming at you with such a dramatic claim, but it's more like your practice is terrible. I didn't get what I wanted. It's
Well,
usually more in that sort of not safety issue, but
mm,
just someone unloading on you, somebody acting out, lashing out, and putting big emotions on you that don't belong to you. How do you work with that?
there are sometimes you don't. There's sometimes you pick up your little black book and you write their name in it. You write blah, blah, blah is an asshole. And you go, all right, I'm sorry you didn't get the service you wanted. I think our relationship is done. And you leave.
Mm.
Again, you can take that in, and that is where it becomes emotional labor to resonate with them to the point that you are trying to accommodate and provide things that you cannot provide. You can't fix everything.
Yeah.
You can't fix it all in one day.
Yeah. Very well said. And there is what you have referred to in the past as a Kadeth Zen koan, akin to if a tree falls in the forest and there's no one there to hear it, was there a sound? Would you be able to share your version of that question in this context?
Sure. If you see a need and you also need to fill it, whose need are you filling?
Oh my. That is quite the Zen koan, and that question can really prompt us into the questions that we need to ask.
It's not a problem to carry that question with you and to ask yourself, I'm seeing a need. I'm feeling the need to fill that need. Am I filling their need for them or am I filling my need to fix them?
Mm,
That's not
okay.
a thing to hold.
So good. So good. And because I know what the counter argument is, I've made the counter argument before as I worked through this type of processing myself, and I hear it all the time. Well, who is going to help them? What if they really do need the help? And I'm the only one that can fix it, quote unquote, fix it. I'm the only one that's there to listen to them. They have no one else.
Who died and made you God?
Ah, bravo. That's
Well,
right.
no, but that's the thing. I mean, a lot of times we feel we are the only one. We have all the magic. Tell me if we could rewind back in time to when Booger had his back leg amputated and he was turning 22 on the full moon night that he went. And I said, Eve, can you fix him? I really want him to stay a little while longer. And you needed to fix him. Could you? No,
Mm,
you don't have the power to fix everything. And understanding both the limits of our power and our drive to be a superhero in a world where we also have to honor the cycles of time, how things come and go, and we have to empower others to do their own work at least a little bit. We're a superhero. You put your superhero cape and go, I'm their only forever ever person. Then you've taken away something from them.
mm,
You can give them what you can if you wish, but you're not their only one because no one can survive in a vacuum. Last time I checked, every single person needs someone else for something, even if that is your barista that makes your coffee, the person that gets your groceries, even if they deliver them to you, you still need a person to do that so far in this world. Them little robots don't work very well.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah. So it's essentially what you're addressing is the illusion that we are capable, if not the only one capable,
Mhm.
of quote unquote fixing or soothing this person when it's simply not true. It is simply not true.
Well, there are moments in this life that we will come to where we might be in that moment the only one that can do something. There are also moments where we believe that we are the only one, and there's absolutely nothing we can do for the person, really. We cannot. They have a path that is going to take them a particular way. We don't have the power to disrupt someone else's path to that extent. So if you feel that you are their only person, take a step back. If you want to try, go ahead. But I'd be asking that person for consent to be their only person because you're going to disrupt their timeline if you believe that and you don't have their consent.
Wow. Can you talk to me about the cycles of time and disrupting someone's timeline for the rest of the evening? That's what
We
I
could,
would love to just have an exploration into those concepts as its own podcast episode, but
absolutely. And we also can put in there, we can put in that the concept of consciousness as a practice.
consciousness as a fractal. Hmm.
We can examine how we navigate our own paths, how we co create them, how we interact on them, how we can examine the concept of consenting for people to intervene for us. We can do all sorts of things like that. We have so many things to talk about if you want.
Ugh, I wish we could. But for now, I think what we need to do is tell everyone who this crow is that has been rudely interrupting our conversation and muting Kadeth's voice periodically throughout our conversation and squawking periodically. Can you tell me the story of
Hannibal the Crow.
Hannibal the Crow?
Hannibal the Crow. Okay. I made a mistake. Okay. First of all, this goes back many, many years when I was out of veterinary medicine for a little while, long time before I met you. I was home and I got a phone call that there was a baby crow in the tree. And then a windstorm had knocked it down, and someone brought this crow to me, and I raised little fat little baby with blue eyes. Perfect, beautiful crow. Her name was Abby. I raised Abby to an adult. She was fist trained, shoulder trained. Her and I got avian flu together. We both survived it.
Oh
It was
my
very
God.
festive. I sat
Very
there
festive.
hacking and coughing while I tubed her to feed her. She was vaccinated for West Nile. And when she was about 6, 7 years old, she was in her flight cage on the back porch, and two boys came a courting her. Two male crows came talking to her, chattering her, and she was looking and looking, and they started passing acorns through the wires back and forth. And so I released Abby. I let her exercise her wings and her flight. And she had a song that she had learned. Part of it was the dryer song going off. I released her into the wild and she raised babies in the neighborhood and she brought them to my house. And so I fed her and her boys, these are first crows in the neighborhood, for years. Abby lived to be probably close to 18 years old. And every year, one of her babies would have her song. And so I still feed that generation of crows outside.
Oh my God.
It's been 30 years now, and I still feed her great, 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 great grandchildren. Well, one day I was a dumbass. I was over at a friend's house and they had crows, and they're not very far from here. And so those quite well are Abby's great grandchildren or those that they courted. And I looked up at them and they're squawking and they're building a nest up there and said, "Can I have one of your babies?" Well, a month later, 2 months later, I got a phone call hey, there's a baby crow in the backyard. I don't think you need to come get it. I think the mother will feed it. And I'm going, that doesn't sound right. Okay, how old is it? It's able to hop. It's like, okay, it's a flex. And then I check back that night and I go, did the mom feed it? And they went, no, it's sitting under a bench and it's laying down. And I went, oh shit. So is the mother even there? Nope, the mother's not around. Okay, so I go over and I find this little baby crow. He's a fledgling. And I pick him up and he's like rolling his head. I thought, oh, you are going to die. Let me take you home and warm you up, give you fluids, and let you die warm. So I took him home, put him in a box, got a heat disc, wrapped him up, tubed him with sugar and ringers, and set him down, packed things because he couldn't stand. He's just not right. Put him and said, you're going to die. I left him in the box overnight on heat, totally padded, all that stuff. Open up the box in the morning, he's not dead.
Mhm.
What? All right. You're still going to die, but you're going to die comfortable. So I cleaned up his poop, looked at him. He couldn't stand, couldn't do anything. He's half limp, but he's trying to lift his head. Tubed him again. Sugar and ringers. Okay, you're going to die. Well, I kept doing that. And I started mixing baby food into it and going, dude, there's no way you can live. So about a week into this, he starts opening his beak for me. This is a bird with feathers beginning. This is a fledgling. He had no idea he was a fledgling. He thought he behaved as a hatchling. Looking him over, picking him up and going, what is going on with you? He had probably been shot with an air gun of some kind because the person I talked to said there was a big party going on. Someone was firing off something and they had probably shot him. So Hannibal was raised back to being an adult. It took 4 to 6 months for him to be able to stand and perch. Almost 8 months for him to get his voice back. He is about 2 years, 3 years old now. He flutters but cannot fly. He can stand, perch, climb, hop. He's a permanent house grow. He wouldn't last 2 minutes outside and has a great big aviary cage, has a spectacular diet. He will come up to the edge of his cage and he'll drop food out and sit there and watch the dog come up and take it. So he feeds the dog.
That's amazing.
Well, that's Hannibal.
And what do you say he has learned the voices of some of your clients? He listens in on your therapy sessions and
Yeah,
learns your clients.
he mimics one that has a New York accent, and he goes, "Hello?"
Oh,
And you can tell. And they know, they've heard him do it. They go, "Oh my god, he's mimicking me." Yes, he is. So he will mimic. He doesn't have Abby's song. He has his own really bad song. Yeah, it's probably the dryer that he's mimicking. He's talking back to the dryer. The little tune the dryer plays, it says, "Come get the stuff out." Oh yeah, that's Hannibal the Crow. He's to me, he's handleable, and I'll reach in and scratch him and groom him and touch him. He will not step up on my hand. I'm not sure he can balance on a hand very well. Occasionally, he gets to come out, and when he does, he hops around and he takes these baths that shower water in like 5, 6 feet in every direction.
what a
Big.
cutie. He's cute. He's adorable. I've met him before. He's amazing. He's a great bird.
Yeah, so he's a permanent resident.
Yeah.
I did not expect him to survive. And
Yeah.
that's it for saying, "Can I have one of your babies?"
Never say that.
No, I should never say that to anyone.
Anyone, human or animal.
No, no people, yuck.
Ew.
You know, human larva,
Amazing.
no.
Uh, Amazing. Well, I'm just personally really excited for all of our listeners to get to know you better, especially if they've already heard, lectures and conversations that we've had together. And I know a lot of people just really love you and your work and the lectures that we've, presented together, and the way you share and communicate just such interesting and valuable concepts that transcend both the psychological and the veterinary worlds, and the way you can make those connections. So this is one of my favorite conversations ever. And before we close up, I wanted to ask what I usually ask everyone, which is there anything, any wisdom, anything that you'd like to share with our listeners that I haven't asked about, specifically for house call vets, entrepreneurs who may be carrying a particularly large emotional load, or who may be interested in baby crow raising, or the cycles of time, or disruption of people's sacred timelines, anything of that nature?
All right, sure. All right, what do you guys all want to hear about next? Here are some options for you. Sometimes we need humor. Do you want to know about medical food equivalents? Do you want to hear about shamanic journey work? Do you want to
Yes.
hear about raising crows? Do you want to hear about
Shamanic journey work.
Okay. All right, that's Eve's vote. All right, who else got votes out there? Just tell Eve, please blow up her phone. Text her, do something. Back to processing trauma. We're all going to get hit by it. This is a world full of it. So we want to be smart, take care of ourselves so that we can hold up those that we love and care for.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Kadeth. This conversation, as always, has filled my soul and my heart and my mind, and I hope all of our listeners feel that as well, and take some of the many, many gems that have come out of this conversation. And I can't wait for our next Kadeth and Eve Palooza, where we explore the meaning of life in some other framework, to be announced. Shamanic journeying may be next.
Awesome.
Love it.
All right, bye.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the House Call Vet Cafe. If you enjoyed this episode, then hit the subscribe or follow button on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts so you never have to miss an episode. This podcast is made specifically for you, so don't be shy if you'd like to reach out and let me know your thoughts on this episode. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook as the House Call Vet Academy, where I also share more valuable content. If you're interested in learning more about consulting for house call vets or the House Call Vet Academy online course and community, please click on the link in the show notes. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I can't wait for you to join us for our next episode of the House Call Vet Cafe.